You alright guys, it's Jin Smith. Okay, today, watching this video, 6 life-saving rules to survive a serious fight. Have you ever guys had a serious fight before? Well, I have. This is a story about when I went to Indonesia. We went clubbing with some of my Japanese friends. We got wasted, enjoyed a lot clubbing, and we were on way to hotel when suddenly some mugs surrounded us saying like, hey, you wanna go drive? And forced us to get on the car. This isn't alright situation, right? So I had no choice but to perform my fantastic karate skills, like and guess what happened later? Well, I smashed all mugs. No, just kidding. We hardly escaped from there, you know, bleeding nose and got lots of bruise, so that was tough one really. Anyway, I guess this video helps us, you know, from such a tough situation. So watch this video, I'll be alright everywhere I go from now on. So let's get a lesson.
If you enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new here. So, let's get into it.
Do not try this at home. It must be dangerous.
So notice in the motions here, I'm already dealing with this, eyes on that, eyes on that.
You make this assumption all the time that someone's carrying?
Always. Because even if he's not carrying a inanimate weapon, these are still considered weapons. So, whereas if I just dealt with this, that's there. Whether I just dealt with this, those are the other weapons that are part of it. Whether I grab onto this, he's got other pieces I can use. People usually deal with only what's being captured and forget that other parts create space.
What happened? What happened?
This is like sounds very Krav Maga, Sistema.
I have no idea about what they do, I only do what I do. I'm sure they're very good at what they do. We do everything based on the fact that there's a weapon involved. So that's all I'm worried about. I'm always worried about him pulling a knife eventually. It's going to come out. Because weapons are meant to be felt, right? Not seen.
What do you mean? Weapons are meant to be felt, not to be seen. What do you mean? No, this is really... He's talking about a really high level. How do you feel the weapon? So feeling weapon means, you know, you can expect attacking while you're closing your eyes, right? So this is high level.
So I'll never see the weapon. And what do you need for weapons in our terms of aside from firearms? I need distance. So if I were to, or the mentality there is to pull a blade out, he's gonna run. I don't have the distance. I've warned him. Whereas if this stays hidden and these are shown, it's a mano a mano to get to this idea, or you give him the full.
Use deception to close the distance. Wow, this is interesting. So,
false sense of security. False sense of security. He's got me. Now I have distance. Now it's too late because he didn't give the respect that he's carrying, that I'm carrying. And by then, by the time you realize you've been punched, it ain't a punch. Probably could be more lethal in the mentality of those who carry weapons. People who carry weapons carry a lot of them.
Well, I've caught word that he's saying, but it's not really clear to me. So if you make an attack, there is a penetratable space. That's what he said. So intentionally let the enemy attack and making penetrate space, and you attack back to the enemy. That's what he meant. This is difficult strategy. Oh, how long I spent on training reaching this level. Do not play the MMA game in a life or death situation. That's talking about me. Yeah, I did karate when I faced the tough situation, death situation. So that was wrong decision. Oh my god.
Some of the questions happens also with a lot of people who don't have the respect. It's just to shoot in. And it's been shown already where in bladed situations, and the idea there is to take what is not available. In this particular case, there's a thumb or impact into the throat, or a knife could go right into the throat, or the twitching of the head as it comes in.
Oh my god, this is totally killing technique. This is not fighting, this is killing. This is a tactics for the, assassin or, killer. Wow. If I mastered this technique, I could kill people.
Right? So it's just basically controlling the head as it's coming in, but not to grapple, to get out of there. Because I'm thinking, he may be one person, what about everybody else around you? That's only because of the mentality of, I don't want to go to the ground when weapons are involved. We learn how to go to the ground to defend ourselves, but that's not our forte. The forte of the ground is to grapple and stay there, because that's their comfort zone. Not my comfort zone when weapons are involved. It's good to know though, because everything ends up on the ground eventually, but you got to know how to defend or get out of that. Think about weapons all over.
When weapons are involved, fight dirty. Wow, this is cool. So when weapons are involved, the way you fight doesn't matter. Even it looks dirty. Just focus on the win. That's what it meant, right?
With the ground, you're gonna stay there, lay down, and roll around. What about the guys who are standing behind you, ready to waiting for just a knife and get in? That's the mentality of what you have in the world of weapons. People think it's, they don't understand that it's an art form, but it's also to a lot of people cultural, and that's just the way it's been. Isn't something new? It is in this idea of chivalry and fairness. Let's go back centuries and centuries ago. It's always been the case. When it's combat, it's fighting, it's weapons. When it's a chivalry thing, that's only a modern phenomenon of getting in there and fair fighting.
Wow.
Maybe Kali is not meant for fair fighting, and I really think of it as something as survival, so that I can protect my family. I'm not going to stand here to submit and exchange blows so that you get up and we could do it again. I want to make sure that I'm alive at the end of the day so that I go back to my family. And sometimes the choices you make may not be the best, and there are always consequences to what you do when you start to raise the bar of lethality. So you really have to have your grounding values and abide by the laws. And if you break those laws, are you justified in what you do? Everything that I do is fun. I don't do this because I ever expect to get into violence. But one of the things that we do in the medical field is when there's a disease, you don't hide and run away from the disease or avoid it. You study it, you delve in it so you know how to protect against it. And the same thing here. In a lot of things that we do, it's very violent. Well, that's because I want to understand the nature of mechanics. Do I have to put the violence there? Well, that's something that we've been exposed to with the law enforcement training and military. In the civilian world, understanding that, but I don't want to be part of that.
His mind is beyond our expectation. This is an important idea. Go hard. Yes. It's like when I was surrounded by the mugs. That was the time to fight. So I wasn't wrong.
It's about the art form for me and the fun factor. And I just enjoy the mechanics, the art form of moving and enjoying what we do. That's about it.
It just so happens to be a deadly art.
It just so happens. The medium is edge impact weapons. But...
Wow. Well, I was literally speechless. He sees what normal people don't see, can't see. In the fighting, there is a, feeling of weapon, invisible space. You have to get the idea what you're fighting for, what kind of ground reason you're fighting based on. These are totally beyond my expectation, beyond my idea. To reach this level, there's still a long way to go for me. I should keep at it. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you like it. If you do, make sure to like button and subscribe please. So, また会おう。